Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it is cold and it is windy and it's a little icy. So if I disappear from the screen, it probably means I fell. I don't know what's the most important story, but I'm interested in the attack on Ron Klainman, the chief of staff for Biden. And the criticism is that they thought he handled Manchin wrong, and because of his disagreements about legislative strategy with Speaker Pelosi. Well, I'm not exactly encouraged by their strategies to continuously lean on Manchin, who made it very clear from the beginning he was never going to come over and do anything constructive. And we wasted a year on that instead of moving in other directions, I think. But it would be curious to know exactly what the complaints were. Anyhow, Biden is all for his chief of staff, and I don't think that's going to change a thing. Talking about other people who do strange things in difficult situations. Zelensky is basically pushing back the West, and the U.S. included, though he wants our missiles and our money and our tanks and our planes, but he doesn't want us to talk about the war and the invasion being inevitable because he thinks that only makes it more likely. I think it's very likely, and I think whether we talk about it or not doesn't mean anything. And I think as soon as the Chinese Olympics are underway and Putin gets away from there, I think that's probably when he'll commence the war. I mean, he's made it pretty clear that the only thing that will satisfy him is us pulling back our missiles and Ukraine saying they'll never be a part of NATO. Well, I guess Zelensky could do that on his own. We're not going to do that. And it's a pretext, it seems to me, for Russia to claim in self-defense they're invading Ukraine because they'll just be a tool of the West. Here we go again. There are no offensive wars. There are only wars in defense of bullshit reasons that we come up with. Finally, those of you who file taxes, I guess that's everybody, right? The good news is that you have income to have to file taxes. Well, we're going to get to a point where they're going to do facial recognition on all of us. So what do we finish up with as a happy story? I don't understand a story I read in the Washington Post that says people don't want to watch Shakespeare, and how is it relevant to today? I've never heard a dumber thing. If there was any kind of poetry or thematic play that was more informative of the human condition, I don't know what it is. And Shakespeare is quite accessible and understandable if you just spend a few minutes sitting in a theater before people who understand it. So this is an example of how low our culture has fallen, that people can't understand or appreciate what Shakespeare is all about. Terrible. So it's cold and I'm going to cut it short because the battery may run out. Bye-bye. Talk to you tomorrow.